Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into, well, a really fascinating set of source materials.
We are. It's all about audio excerpts talking about a supposed mass UFO event over Turkey.
Right, and not just the event itself, but then these pretty serious claims of, like, information suppression afterwards.
Exactly. So our mission here is to unpack what the sources say happened, look at the evidence they present, the theories that popped up.
And specifically focus on those claims of censorship, right, across Twitter, YouTube, the big platforms.
That's the core of it, because it's a really interesting case study in how information, or maybe the lack of it, shapes what we think we know.
And the hook, the thing that really grabs you from the start in these sources, is this idea of a global trending hashtag just vanishing.
Yeah, gone within minutes, apparently. It's a central piece of this puzzle.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Turkey. What did the sources say actually happened on the ground?
Well, the initial reports, according to the material, described a fleet of unknown lights. Not just one or two, a fleet.
Profiteering where?
In multiple cities, simultaneously, right across Turkey. And apparently it caused quite a bit of panic. Mass panic is the term used.
Wow. Okay, so people see this. What happens next? Social media, I assume?
Instantly. The reaction was immediate. Hundreds of tweets apparently flooded Twitter.
And that hashtag.
Yeah, the hashtag UFO attack to Turkey. It supposedly became the #1 trending hashtag worldwide, almost instantly.
Which is huge.
Mm.
The sheer speed of that response is something else.
It really is. And it's key to the later claims about suppression.
It's interesting, too, that the source even points out the phrasing UFO attack.
Right, they suggest it probably wasn't meant literally, like an assault.
Mhm.
More likely someone maybe with slightly broken English trying to say invasion or wave or just...
A major event, something significant was happening.
Exactly. It speaks to the kind of chaotic, immediate nature of how people were trying to describe it online.
So you have this massive global trend, everyone's talking about it,
And
and then,
according to the source material, this immediate wave of suppression hits Twitter.
suppression meaning what? Tweets deleted.
Yeah, the claim is that most of those original tweets, and crucially, the pictures people were posting of the lights, they just vanished.
Vanished from Twitter.
That's the claim.
Yeah.
And that #1 hashtag, reportedly, you couldn't find it anymore within 10 minutes.
10 minutes. For the top worldwide trend to disappear? That seems fast.
Extremely fast.
Yeah.
If true, it suggests a really swift and targeted action.
And was it just Twitter? Or did the sources mention other platforms?
Oh, yeah, they point to YouTube as well. There's a specific example given about a video covering the event.
What about a video?
Apparently, it got 100,000 views in the first hour and was climbing fast, like 60,000 new views an hour.
So huge engagement.
Massive. It supposedly passed 300,000 views within just 2 hours. But, and here's the kicker.
Let me guess, the public view count didn't match.
Exactly. The source claims the publicly displayed counter was just stuck at 35,000. A huge discrepancy.
That's a big difference between what the analytics allegedly showed and what people could see.
It feeds into this broader claim in the source material about, well, systemic censorship.
How broad are we talking?
Pretty broad. The source directly asserts that YouTube, owned by Google, of course Google itself, and Facebook are, and this is a quote, directly connected and operated by the big boys at the top, Uncle Sam.
Wow, okay, so not just influenced, but operated. That's a strong claim.
Very strong. It's asserting direct government control, essentially saying these platforms function as tools for government interests.
And the argument then follows that the government, quote, operates these websites and can just censor and completely erase anything that doesn't fit their agenda.
Precisely. And the source tries to back this up by pointing to other alleged instances, mentioning removals of right-leaning conservative websites, blogs, Twitter pages.
Drawing a parallel between that and what they claim happened with the Turkey UFO reports.
Yes. And they interpret the lack of official comment from governments, scientists, space agencies as more proof.
Proof of what? A cover-up.
That's the implication, that the silence means something's up and that officials are, quote, scrambling to come up with a cover story.
It definitely raises questions about how we interpret official silence in these situations, doesn't it?
It certainly does when there's widespread public reporting and then nothing official.
So, okay, amidst all this talk of suppression and sightings, what did people actually think these lights were? The sources must cover theories, right?
Oh, definitely. They run through the usual suspects proposed by others online. Drones, for one.
Makes sense. Common explanation these days.
Sure. Also, secret military exercises or operations. That comes up a lot with unexplained lights.
Okay. Anything more? Unusual.
Yeah, holograms. Specifically mentioning Project Bluebeam, which, for anyone unfamiliar, is this conspiracy theory about a staged alien invasion using holograms.
Right, I've heard of that one. And the classic explanation.
Hoax, always got to consider if it was all just faked.
But the source material pushes back on these explanations, doesn't it?
It does, pretty strongly, actually. Against drones, the argument is, well, consumer drones don't usually fly hundreds of miles in formation.
Right, the range is limited. And government drones.
The source says government drones, like military ones, typically don't light themselves up so brightly and conspicuously. They're usually trying to be stealthy.
Okay, that challenges the drone idea. What about the hoax theory?
The source expresses strong doubt there, too, just given the sheer number of reports, the volume of images.
Too many people reporting the same thing from different places.
Basically, yes. The source says if it was a hoax, it would have to be one of the most flawlessly orchestrated hoaxes ever seen.
What makes it seem so hard to fake, in their view, beyond just the number of reports?
It's the scale and the apparent consistency across different cities, different witnesses, coordinating all the sightings, the timing, the images, and then the alleged simultaneous removal online.
The logistics would be insane for a hoax.
Well, that's the argument. The source sees it as practically impossible from a logistical standpoint, which is why they lean away from the hoax idea.
And it wasn't just Turkey, was it? The source claims sightings spread.
Yeah, that's another compelling part. Reports supposedly came in from the Middle East more broadly, the UK.
And the U.S. too.
Yes, specifically mentioning Texas. There's talk of an image from Jonesboro plus New Jersey, Denver. The source basically says similar lights were seen all over the world.
Which, if true, takes it to a whole different level, a simultaneous global event.
It really changes the scope, doesn't it? Makes you think about how something like that would even be reported or potentially managed in real time globally.
Absolutely. It's that idea of collective observation versus maybe managed perception.
Well put. Now let's drill down into the visuals. What did the lights actually look like, according to the sources?
They mention a closer look image, lights seen moving over another town, and something about them separating.
Right, into pairs of two. That detail becomes really important.
Why is that?
Because the source draws this really striking parallel. They compare the formation of the lights in Turkey.
To another sighting.
Exactly. A very similar sighting over Canada. They even mentioned it being reported by Canada's Winnipeg News.
And what was the similarity?
The objects in Canada also reportedly moved into the exact same formation. Those two pairs of two, just before they vanished.
The exact same pattern.
The source uses the word identical. They really emphasize this point.
How do they make that connection seem so strong? Is it just the final formation?
It seems to be more the dynamic movement, not just the static shape, but the way they reportedly split into those pairs and then disappeared. That specific, complex sequence.
Making it seem less like a coincidence.
That's the argument. That replicating such a specific maneuver by chance in two different locations is highly unlikely.
And they use this again to argue against simple explanations.
Yes, they reiterate that these are certainly not flares. Flares don't fly for hundreds of miles, stay in formation over multiple cities, and then split into pairs like that.
Right. Flares just fall, they don't maneuver.
Precisely. The source keeps coming back to this idea. Something is going on here.
So we have all these reports, these images, these videos, the claims of suppression, the comparisons to other sightings, but ultimately...
Ultimately, the source concludes, we still have no answers, despite everything they've presented.
And that feeling, that lack of answers, combined with the idea of information just vanishing, it really taps into current anxieties, doesn't it, about navigating information online?
It absolutely does. It forces you, the listener, to think. Okay, if something trends globally, gets seen or reported by potentially thousands, and then just gets wiped from view, what does that mean?
What does it mean for our understanding of reality if the digital record can be seemingly altered so quickly?
Right. How much power rests in controlling that narrative, controlling what remains visible?
It really frames the central dilemma the source presents. What happens when information, verified or not, hits the global stage and then is pulled back behind the curtain?
That's the crux of it. So to kind of wrap up the core tension here, we've explored these widespread reports of unexplained phenomena, this major event described over Turkey and potentially elsewhere.
And set that against these very persistent, detailed claims that the information about it was immediately and deliberately suppressed on a massive scale.
Across the platforms we rely on every day for news and connection.
So, in an age where we think information flows freely, what does it really mean if something globally witnessed can apparently be hidden?
Or, to use the source's final provocative question, what cover story will they give us tomorrow or the next day?
It's definitely something to think about, especially as we try to figure out what's real and what's not in the information we see every day.